Government ain't shut down. Hell, they still taking federal taxes out that motherfucker. Yeah. If you shut down, shut all the way down. Yeah. Leave them taxes alone. Don't somebody need to hit the button? Yeah, if y'all ain't at work, don't be taking nothing. What y'all got? Auto tape. Like we got auto pay. I got auto tape. Cause how y'all still deducting? And ain't nobody clocking in. If you gonna shut down, if you gonna be closed, leave my check alone. Yeah. If you ain't working, they don't see me paying you. Yeah, I just looked at my stub. Yeah, I just looked at my check stub. And y'all still, somebody working. Somebody in there still deducting. Yeah. I'm just saying, be real. If you gonna shut down, shut all the way down. Get out my check. Shit. I got shit to do.
There does seem to be some kind of a massive cover-up of something. The earliest pictures we have of like these big cities are like from like the 1850s, and they're these massive cities, and they look very similar than they do today, actually, except for more grain-looking, massive buildings, and there's like hardly any people out on the streets, like nobody. And sometimes, in many cases, it looks like muddy streets, and it's like, okay, so where are all the people at? It's very odd to have a giant city like that with no people. And then when you start to see people later, in like sometimes you have these early videos of like these cities like Paris and London, and all of the people are dressed really nice, like dressed to the nines, like aristocrat looking people. And then you're like, that there's just something so off about this. Like I can't really kind of put my finger on it, but something's really off. And then you start to see the orphan train thing, and you're like, okay, so wait a minute, these things have to be related. And that's why I started to make the connections, like, wait a minute, the people who are dressed like that were not working in factories, right? They weren't working in fields, they weren't working in factories. These people look very rich. So maybe the pictures with nobody in them in these big cities, maybe the orphan trains were related to the fact that they needed people to go work in the factories. And then if you go look in more old pictures, kids working in factories, kids working in fields, kids doing all these random jobs. And then you see the insane asylums. Okay, so between like 1860 and 1929 in America, there's 250,000 kids on orphan trains. Again, the population is much bigger now. That number is huge now. It's way bigger then. And then there was 150,000 people in insane asylums.
There's this very interesting theory about the millennial reign of Jesus. It's this time when Jesus will come down to earth and rule for 1,000 years. But in this theory, this 1,000 years has already happened. You see, many people actually believe that Jesus already came back and ruled here on the earth. But here's my only question. If this glorious kingdom really happened in the past, then wouldn't we see evidence of this, like, everywhere? Well, there is this other theory called the Tartarian mud flood. It's this legend of this ancient, advanced empire that stretched across the entire world until one day this empire just vanishes and Tartaria becomes nothing but this old, forgotten myth. But this actually gets much, much weirder, because recently people have been pointing out something very interesting about our own cities. You see, a lot of these buildings are really just sitting on much older constructions. Of course, this is no secret, but I have to agree that these buildings do seem like they're covering up some kind of history. Okay, now stay with me, because in 1851, there was this new thing going around called World Expos. And different countries all around the world were building these massive constructions just to host these World Expos. And you gotta understand that millions of people attended these things. But what is just absolutely confusing is that right after the event, everything would be destroyed. All of these beautiful, supposedly new buildings from 1851 to about the 1930s, almost every single one of them was completely destroyed. But this is what these World Expos look like. This is Philadelphia in 1876. This is Chicago in 1893. This is St. Louis in Missouri. This is 1904. These buildings kind of look like ancient Roman-style buildings. And again, they were all destroyed. See, it's almost as if they're trying to remove the evidence of an empire that stretched across the entire world. A lost empire that would completely throw off our history. And some people even think that is what World War I and II was all about. Just clearing the slate so they could rewrite the timeline. Now, this really is nothing but a theory. But I do have just one more curious question. You see, the Bible says that after this 1,000 years, Satan will be released to deceive the world just one last time. And if we are in that time now, then what kind of lies would the devil have told us?
Ambitions.
Well, he's going to get a third term, so.
Secretary Hegseth, crowd control and civil unrest, and deploy Secretary Hegseth. Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Some breaking news. This just in from Steve.
You once said, the more stuff I write, and you write a lot of stuff, the closer. You once said, the more stuff I write, and you write a lot of stuff, the closer I come to my own destination. What's your definition of your own destination?
I would say the complete oneness with the Spirit of God and knowledge of the truth. Larry and I have been, he's been so kind as to help me with a lot of things that I didn't quite have a firm grip on. There's a lot of temptation out in the world, and it can confuse you and get you wrapped up in something that keeps you from the truth. But with a loving brother like that by your side, usually you do all right.
Yeah. So you are a loving brother, aren't you, Mr. Graham?
I try to be.
You always succeed in doing that, or?
Yeah, so, yeah, I feel so. We have a very close relationship. We spend a lot of time digging deep into the truth and deep into gaining more knowledge and drawing closer to our Creator, and that's very, very important. And then as a result, then you become closer to people around you that you love and that love you.
Yeah. So working with the artist is more than just making music.
Oh yeah, we are connected heart to heart, and then out of the heart comes the music. That's the gift. But if we weren't connected heart to heart, then it would just be playing music with another musician, you know. And he's done that. I've done that, you know. Now is a special time in our life. We get a chance to play with people that we really, really, really care about deep inside.
Yeah. Can you always follow him in his very, let's say, specific ideas?
Well, he allows me freedom of thought, freedom of expression, you know.
So, why are you laughing?
Well, I'm actually smiling because it makes me happy, the thought, you know.
But for example, when the artist says, I celebrate the day I die, that's an idea you can follow completely?
Well, each day is a special gift from God. It's he being the source of life. And yesterday is kind of like in the past. Yesterday did die, but we're looking forward to tomorrow, as he said a minute ago. We're always looking forward and not trying to look back. We can learn from things that we've done in the past, especially if we made some mistakes, and especially gain wisdom by applying the knowledge that we've gained in the past, and that'll help us to have a more successful future.
That's
So
what
yeah,
it's
we're
all about.
so we're always looking forward, not only with our spiritual life, but our family life, and also with our music. We're always looking straight ahead.
Once a person gets a firm grip of life and death, then they fully understand both. For example, you had how many birthdays?
Me? What do you think?
Well, I know that you had one birthday.
Yeah.
You
When
were
was it?
born
Yeah.
on a certain day. You had
Absolutely.
no more birthdays after that. So I don't celebrate birthdays, so that stops me from counting days, which stops me from counting time, which allows me to still look the same as I did 10 years ago.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective, man. This video, we're going to be talking about the spaces and times that we are in, endings, but with all endings, there are new beginnings. And so I'm going to take my time with this one and timestamp it. Is more of an encyclopedia. It's more of a research or resource rather to help you understand the space and time that you are in presently. Because one of the things that came to my mind, and of course, peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. One of the things that came to my mind was the fact that we can't guarantee people are going to tell the truth. Like, it's going to be people in your life that look you dead in the eye and lie to you. 50 Cent have a lyric. He say, man, I hate a thief. I'm sorry, I hate a liar more than I hate a thief. A thief is after my salary. A liar is after my reality, right? So, in reference to your reality, you've been lied to. The ways for which we're scoping out school, education, ethnic groups, finances. When you become my age, it's pretty blatant that you've been lied to your whole life. But throughout the certain spectrums of human existence, you could easily fall for the illusion. And so, I mean, down the board, around the corner, up the block, we have been lied to on every turn. And if you haven't lived life in reference to developing a truth for yourself, then you've depended on the liars. And so the purpose of the lie, I personally feel that it is, when I say biblical, I don't mean biblical. I think it is cosmological. It's more of a cosmic story than a Bible story. And there's ways that I want to get into it so deep. Pause. From how I've been just studying and understanding shit. Like what we're going to be discussing in reference to the Bible. The Bible wasn't this work that God inspired a human being to write, but more of ancient knowledge being remixed and rewritten. So at the core is ancient knowledge, which holds a specific vibration, but then all the historicity, all of the particular governmental propaganda is not tied into the truth. So what you will have is people that benefit from the lie. Okay? And then what you will also have is people that will suffer because of the lie. And if you don't see the lie and you don't know the lie, you're not even going to prepare your children to face the world. So, for those who are just joining, do you feel that your parents, grandparents, ancestors prepared you for the world that you're living in today? One's in the chat if you feel that they did not prepare you for the world. And this is not a knock, but it's just an actual truth. Do you feel prepared? One's in the chat if you don't feel really prepared for what's coming down the pike because nobody prepared you. Okay? So once again, since nobody prepared, because nobody knew, because we felt it within our soul, we might have, gravitated towards it through electromagnetic propulsion, but we wasn't able to sift through the bullshit to get to the core of the entire truth of the world that we are living in, because everybody want to argue, everybody want to fight, and guess what? Everybody wants to make money, but money not real. So if your family live in another state, you're not able to see them. One's in the chat. You're not able to travel. Costs too much to travel. You think about the last time you traveled, you barely got on your feet after that. Everything is trial and error in this world. And the trial and error of this world is causing you to not even do or be with the people that you love, because everybody trying to get money, but money's not real. So we are trying to accumulate a lie. And me and Sacred, we always say, if I gave you 1.5 billion and I multiplied it by 0, you're gonna have 0. Any number times 0 equals 0. We learned that in school, but we never applied it to our own present mathematics, to whereas we are living in a world of glamour. And the reason that we're living in a world of glamour, illusion, is because they want it to be like that. Okay? So we're cooked because everybody is an individual. How do you live in a world with 8 billion individuals? If you wanted one clear reason that we're living in the little season, it is that we are 8 billion individuals that refuse to unite because of the pressures. This is all facts. There's nothing you can say to what I'm saying right now. The reason that we do not unite is because the pressures of capitalism, to whereas if I gave you a job and told you to be there Monday through Friday, and I was going to give you a certain amount of money, your ass is going to be there Monday through Friday, and you're going to expect that money. If I say we have to unite and read the Black's Law Dictionary Monday through Friday, your ass not going to come because I'm not giving you a paycheck. The pressures of capitalism will completely eliminate your ability to unite. And since you don't have no ability to unite, you have no way to understand. So therefore, the conversation, the next deeper level to that, well, I'm antisocial. I don't even want to deal with people, hood. Uniting is still something that can be accomplished within yourself, because we're talking about activating a level of autopilot or Christ consciousness, which will be the powerful method, as opposed to this devilish demonic system that is not giving you any metaphysical tools to navigate this world with. It's only giving you illusion. It's only giving you propaganda, to whereas the choices that you're making and who you're choosing to be with in a long-term relationship, something that your ancestors had did normally and naturally for millions of years, your ass sitting there single can't even figure it out. The basic things where we talk about love magic, prosperity magic, niggas say, oh man, fuck all that. I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna get me a job. Irony, you don't got no money and all you got is racked up bodies because you following the trend. The trend is not the current. Following the current is a way to have currency. You see the current, you have currency. The trend, the trend is crazy. Because imagine they talking about you, everybody in the world talking about you today. Tomorrow, they don't even know who you are. People got you giving you GoFundMes today. Tomorrow, you a scam artist. The trend is a tricky place. I would rather understand the current versus following the trend. Following the trend is just the epitome of the most nastiest work known to man. So I guess that's a good enough of an intro. I want to start this video off with the concept of 2025 being a 9-year. And I wrote an article in 2024 about the year 2025 because I really wasn't on studying numerology of years until 2024 when that was an 8-year and it was just so karmically charged. I felt Saturn really working in my life in ways that I didn't feel it until that previous 8-year, which was 2015. 2015 was an 8-year, and I kind of experienced the same thing, that same shift. Like, you know, when you is God's child, you can be naive. And I'm not speaking that like in reference to myself. I'm being real general, right? When you live in a space of innocence, when you really trust in the divine, you naive and you gonna get taken advantage of. 8 years is where kind of Saturn or Chronos step in, like, all right, leave this little nigga alone, right? I'm protecting this person right here, so you're going to have to back up. And I seen the cycle within the 8-year. I said, nah, this shit real. So when 2025 came around, I said, I'm going to really lock into what this year really means from a numerological point of view. I did not understand the cycle that we were completing, though. Because 2025 leads into 2026. 1776 into 2026 is 250 years. 250 years is 1/4 of 1,000. Christ was going to reign for 1,000 years. So a little season, because if we have 4 seasons in a year, y'all got to walk with me and talk with me and understand the logic. It's 4 seasons, correct? What is in the chat if it's 4 seasons? If we had a little season, wouldn't a little season be 250, 1/4 or 1/4 of those other 3/4 of a season? So basically, in the Bible, it says Christ reigns for 1,000 years and Satan will be released for a little season. The question is, when will that little season end? This is some shit that can't even be argued with at this point. It's right in front of your eyes. If you refuse to see it, and if you want to argue, I really want to open this channel up for debates. hoodmystic@gmail.com. I would love to hear a different perspective in reference to the succinct nature of the time that we are living in. Because if God is in control, if God has been in control, what do we always say? Where was God during slavery? (1775), they wrote that Declaration of Independence. They were not thinking about helping your black ass. I'm going to show you that they turned it up a notch when they signed that Declaration of Independence. They were becoming independent of the royal bloodline. Now, we could always assume and adhere to white man logic. Everybody in the world was white. Black people didn't exist. We were sub-Saharan Africans, monkeys swinging in fucking trees and shit while they were just doing glorious, wondrous things throughout the history, just building up empires, civilizing the whole entire planet, especially our orangutan asses. But I beg to differ in reference to the Moorish who civilized these people in a time where they didn't even know what a bath was. So now we know this to be true. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and things of that nature, but we still have to understand, in 1492, the Moorish Empire was just defeated in that same year. Meaning that you're not going to suppress a nation. You're not going to suppress a nation in a year. I'm sorry. When this empire falls, it might be another 100 years before you see it completely get wiped off the map. 100 years. So in 1492, there was still Moorish strongholds throughout the whole entire planet. And when I say Moorish, understand we're talking about Tartaria, because the thing about the ways for which conspiracy theories feel about conspiracy is that they're extremely racist. White people can't get past their racism even if they try. That's how we know we're living in the Little Season. Because when they reflect on the royal bloodline, when they reflect on Tartaria, they can't admit to themselves that those were black people. Because why in every major city do you see black people? Every major city in America. Migration patterns. Cool. We capture all of y'all on slave ships. Now, I'm not even going to get into that because there's enough videos, there's enough research, it's enough talking points on the fact that we wasn't sent here on slave ships and they didn't enslave all of us. But what did happen was the Declaration of Independence, which was a government institution. And if you want to fast forward in hyperspeed to now, them niggas have been in control ever since, if only the popular consensus narrative. Because what was Satan sent to do to the nations? And we're talking about the nations or the tribes of Israel. And Satan is not here to fuck with the whole entire world. Satan is here to fuck with the children of Israel, God's chosen people. Jesus is a Messiah for the Jews. This might be a little too deep for y'all, and I apologize, but y'all need to understand, because you would think that the devil is going to be the same to black people in Nigeria, black people in Ghana, black people in Cape Verde, but those people have a different set of mythologies. When it comes to this particular realm, this particular region, we're talking about something very specific, something very biblical, and that season, that time is coming to an end. Because in reference to this government shutdown and in reference to the last government shutdown, this one is a lot different. I'm telling y'all, we have to get back to a space and time that this government is not in control. But when you speak about this government has been feeding 41 million people, feeding them, making sure that they eat. But we hate the government. So when the government shuts down, what is your disposition in reference to the world that you live in and the people that you inhabit this world in with? Because this singleist ideology, this lack of community, it cannot exist within a world that does not have a government. And newsflash, the government is shut down. So in 2025, this is why I be like, this numerology shit is crazy, because I could have never put this shit together. Why is the cycle being complete? And I've never even heard, I've read Revelation from front to beginning. The concept of Satan's little season, I didn't even recognize it. A nigga commented on a video and said, look up Satan's little season a couple of weeks ago. But the numbers had it already encoded. Hey, this cycle is over. The devil is no longer in control. But that's an uncomfortable place for a lot of you niggas, because a lot of niggas love the devil. They love it. They've immersed themselves in the devil. They think the devil is God, y'all. So when the devil says, all right, I shut down, now, which should have been a joyous occasion and eventually will be, it will be utter chaos. It will be utter pandemonium. You're talking about, at least if 41 million people get food stamps, let's just imagine 10 million of them people can survive without food stamps. That's still 30 million people that don't know where their next meal is coming from. Don't know. Because it's not to say they don't have money, but shit, if they got to pay rent and they got to pay electricity and they got to pay their phone bill, they might not have enough money for food. So guess what? You got to know that motherfuckers is about to lose their shit. People have been losing their shit up until this point, and niggas have already had food stamps. Imagine that. And niggas will be like, oh, get a job. Bro, most people that get food stamps got jobs. It ain't food. The jobs do not pay enough, because when you go to the grocery store and you want to get a week's supply of groceries, you got to drop that 300. You got to throw up that Chief Keef, that 300. I don't care where you live at. You want a week's supply of groceries, you drop in 3 bones. So, yeah, I'm going to need them stamps, my boy. Most motherfuckers got stamps. Most motherfuckers got SNAP, especially if you got kids, because it's a supplement income in reference to a social net, right? You saying, I work hard, I don't need food stamps. But Charmaine don't, for whatever reason, and she do. Charmaine and Jermaine. Now, since they don't got food stamps, you gonna take your ass to work, okay? Charmaine and Jermaine is in your crib taking out your flat screens and shit. It's a social net, because if they can eat, they're not gonna fuck with me as much if they can't eat. And this is where people are at. It's a lot of people that's ready to fucking blow their fucking top. And ultimately, it's only one reason why. They've depended on the government. They've trusted in the government. They put their faith in the government, but the government in its inception is a demonic entity. George Washington, our first president, is a Freemason, loud and proud. He is our first president. Trump is our last president. Nothing has changed in 250 years, y'all. What the fuck? Hey, so now we got to come up with a new system that niggas can't get food stamps. So eventually, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to have to recalibrate and reinstitute the global network of supporting those who can't support themselves as a form of protection. Or fuck them. Let them fend for themselves. Now you got to walk around with a Glock 30. You ain't even going to see your kids grow up because it's like living in the fucking wild. You a fucking animal now. The thing about living in the wild, you start watching that in the National Geographic shits. Who do the predators go for? Who do the predators go for? If you watch National Geographic, you know the motherfucking baby bunnies don't stand a chance. The motherfucking baby gazelles don't stand a chance, nigga. They don't stand a chance, and the animals is going for the babies all the time. And this is the world niggas want to live in, obviously, because it's 2025. I seen a nigga say, I've just moved into my dream apartment. He just getting shit from Amazon and shit. Dog, it's 2025. We need to stop consuming. It don't matter. This world is over. Niggas is gonna come in your house and take that shit. Then what you gonna do? Cry. Because you don't understand space and time. That's why I'm sitting here looking at the numerology. I'm seeing a numerology. And I'm like, whoa. Whoa. So I'm telling y'all, get into that article. It's on my Substack. Just search for 2025. And I'm telling y'all, good shit. So let's break this down one more again, because we about to get into it. Because the government have shut down right now. Niggas think that this shit is all gravy. Niggas saw Trump and said, I believe in Trump. You ever just look at Trump and you like, bro, I wouldn't trust this nigga. If this nigga was my landlord, I know this nigga about to put me through some bullshit as a landlord. If this nigga my supervisor, I know this nigga is on bullshit. If this nigga is the CO, if Trump was a CO, I would hate when it was his motherfucking shit. He got that look that say, this nigga is on bullshit. I don't trust a nigga that look like Trump, bro. Motherfuckers like, you should have voted for Kamala. Hey, I'll probably be saying the same thing about her ass at this particular point. That's like my son. My son, he think that everything he didn't experience is better than what he actually experienced. And I'm like, bro, it don't even work like that. His mind go into weird places where he can just think like, if he in some bad situation, it's going to be better than his present situation. But it's like he don't understand because he never been. So a lot of this, and this came to my mind earlier, is like a lot of our reality is based upon the choices that we make, and then understanding that there is no opposite to the choices that we make. As much as we try to imagine, like, damn, if I'd have did this, or if I'm over here, or whatever, like, we have to grow the fuck up and understand states of consciousness. If you can understand states of consciousness, then you'll be able to navigate moving forward. Like I said, the chaos is going to be overnight. It's going to be multiple things that happen that, like, you going to have to, like, not panic. Okay? The reason why I'm saying this is because so many people worship the devil. And when the devil falls, they gonna fall too. And when I say worship the devil, I don't mean that they're bad people. They could be just a good-hearted person, but selfish as fuck. Right? They don't care, like, not selfish, and they're intentionally selfish, but they're possessed by their own life, by their own reality, that they don't imagine that there are other realities. They don't do any social work. They don't do any humanitarian work. They don't even care about other people, right? It's called solipsism, the quality of being very self-centered or very selfish. Solipsism is the philosophical idea that only one's mind is sure to exist. As an epistemological position, so what does that even mean? Because I hate saying words that I don't even know what it means. Epistemology is a branch of philosophy that examines the nature, origin, and limits of knowledge. I still don't know what that means, though. Also called the theory of knowledge, it explores different types of knowledge. So, whatever. Let's go back. As an epistemological position, I would just say as a thoughtful position or as a philosophical position, solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind. So I would find this to be a very innocent and a very normal disposition, because people come to me and they want a reading, and usually a good reading is like where you find your purpose and how you're going to connect to the world and other people. A bad reading is when you just trying to figure out yourself, and you feel justified and empowered and assured that the only thing that matters is you. So you don't make it like, you don't say, people, you ever heard people say, one's in the chat, if you heard people say it's the Aquarian age. And if it is the Aquarius age, the Aquarius age describes how an individual interacts with their community, friends, and social groups with a focus on humanistic goals and a desire to improve the collective good. Nothing that I'm talking about can be argued with. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful disposition. I mean it in a way that you need this knowledge. You need to understand life is simple. And if you plan to move forward in this dimension and you don't want to get taken out, and I'm not saying join a fucking social club. It could be doing Instagram lives. I don't know. Just think about different and not about yourself. Not about negativity, but how can you improve somebody? How can you help somebody? If you're a mechanic, fixing people's cars, bless you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do towards the collective? And how can you soften your heart, open your heart, redirect your heart to magnetize the love that it needs? Right? The reciprocal love, the healthy version of love that's not going to break it, but inflate it, grow it. So these concepts veer into trusting and faith of the divine. But in this space and time, many people do not have trust and faith in divine because they've externalized this particular energy, because they were taught to externalize this particular energy by seeing God in the church, by seeing God in the government. They going real hard now with Trump and the Antichrist thing. Now he's a religious person, a theosophist. Like he is a spiritual leader. And it is nothing against Trump, but in Luke chapter 17, verse 21, Jesus specifically instructs his disciples that the kingdom of heaven is within you. So no disrespect to Trump or whoever believes in him to be a religious figure. But if you think that Trump is a religious figure, I countered that with you are a religious figure. We have yet to see what your kingdom expression looks like in this world. Because we could turn a situation around to say, oh, it was about to be chaos and all types of weird shit, but we all came together and united with food pantry after food pantry, and we made sure that no child went to sleep hungry because we all showed up for one another. And you know why we did that? Because we had to. And you know why we did that? It's because the devil was in control. And in order for you to believe in God, you must first understand that there is a devil. But since most people don't understand the devil, because the devil is going to provide what? Material comforts. And when you get material comforts, who is the first person you're going to think? You thanking God. Thank you, God, for this new house. Thank you, God, for this new car. So when the people are possessed by what they want, they don't give a fuck about nothing that I'm talking about right now, because what they want is so much more important. So in verse 20, where it's written, I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit. The key of the bottomless pit. What is the bottomless pit? Materialism. Sex. You never going to be satisfied. You never going to be happy until you realize you on earth. It clicked for me. I will sit at the river in a heartbeat. Roll me up a J and just sit out there and feel good. Don't let me have no goddamn microdose capsules. Oh shit. I'm sitting at the river looking at all of the cars pass by. And I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers still don't get it. We all could be at this fucking river. But niggas don't want to because the bottomless pit is like, shit, why get one Yankee candle when you can get 2 Yankee candles? Fuck it. Just have a Yankee candle room. Fuck it. Make sure I gotta have a Yankee candle in my bedroom. Oh, have you heard? They got kid Yankee candles, so I can get a kid Yankee candle for little Ray Ray's room. I done burnt out the candle. Now I gotta go back to Yankee Candle and get 7 more candles because I love these candles. And then you look at her for doing the candles, but you the same way when it comes to Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever the fuck you gonna be materialistic about. Trinkets, souvenirs, action figures, Jordan shoes. You ever see the niggas that collect shoes and been collecting shoes for 20 years and then get their shoes from 20 years ago? Them motherfucking shoes, the fucking bottoms of them just fall the fuck out. They fucking, because they've been sitting there for so long and went from leather to paper. That's a bottomless pit. And the thing about the angel that came down from heaven, he had the chain in his hand. So this particular angel had a specific mission or message for the collective. And this message was he was going to lay hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. And what is the Bible doing right now? It's letting you know whatever form that illusion shows up in your life, it was going to get bound. So the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. Throughout the Bible, the dragon have showed up, the old serpent have showed up, the devil has showed up, Satan have showed up in different spaces and times. But in this particular verse, all versions of illusion is going to be bound for 1,000 years. And he was cast into a bottomless pit. This is not prophecy. This has already happened. When this had happened, this was called Tartaria, or the Moorish rule. Tartaria, they would call it the Moorish Empire, but there are 2 races to call it the Moorish Empire. Because when you say Christ ruled for 1,000 years, you're also saying a black man ruled for 1,000 years. So the white Roman Catholics, white Christian nationalists that talk about Jesus, they're doing it tongue in cheek. And I don't even know what tongue in cheek means. I said I'm gonna Google it when I say it, because I think about these videos in full detail before I do it. All of this information is already in my head. Tongue in cheek means an ironic, flippant, or insincere way. I didn't even know what that meant. And I do that from time to time to let people know that I am channeling. I heard in my mind that white Christian nationals are in the same tomb of the Romans who usurped the Christian faith and made it the state's religion. The state's religion. Now, mind you, this is the same state that killed Christians, that put Christians in the Colosseum to be ate by lions, and said, oh, them niggas is fanatic. I like they spunk, right? We gonna take their religion. This is why when you go to a white church and you go to a black church, you have 2 different church experiences. Because when the white person is honoring Jesus, they wouldn't dare honor a black Christ. They wouldn't dare. Them is fighting words. Christ is black. Jesus is black. Period. These niggas was in Africa. Period. Ain't no Caesar Borgias, none of that. That ain't the real version. That's a whitewashed version. So you're not gonna see the irony in this. You're not going to see a more devout Christian than a white Christian nationalist. You're not going to see a motherfucker with they shit more together than a white Christian nationalist. And I'm going to tell you why. Their God honors materialism. Their God honors the bottomless pit of materialism. So give them all of the money, give them all of the cars, give them all of the houses. I still know who your God is. I'm hip to you, buddy. I get it. I see it. You don't want to argue. You don't want to go back and forth, right? Because the more people argue, the more people go back and forth, the more the masses is going to see the truth. So I open it up. Email me. We can do it right after this video. We ready. We ready for y'all. So this angel in verse 20 coming down from heaven with a key to the bottomless pit of heaven. God like, all right, I'm going to give you the key to the bottomless pit, and I'm going to give you a chain. I want you to bind up all forms of demonic worship. And I want you to bind them for 1,000 years. And that angel, just like Chris from The Wire, right? That angel is like Chris from The Wire. He came down, he put the devil in a bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more until the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed for a little season. In all of these little season videos, I'm going to read this verse, okay? Good, you already read this verse before because I can't believe this shit. You got to see it with your own eyes. You got to see this shit with your own eyes. And so what is that little season? It hit me when I started thinking about 2025, which is a 9-year, and 2026, which is a 1 year, which is a 1 year. So after 250 years, we enter 2026. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6, 1 plus 0 is 1. I say, oh, this is a new beginning. And when you look at the Statue of Liberty, that's a black story. When you look at the Liberty Bell, that's a black story. When you look at the Capitol House, these are black stories. So the founding of this country is a suppression of Christ energy found in the melanated people of America, who are the real Israelites, the true Israelites. And the Israelites, and the Moors, and the Tartarians, all of these people exist under the same banner of following a supreme ruler. A supreme ruler that didn't go into England to conquest or to take over, but to enlighten and to prepare them, because we have to then understand prophecy and how prophecy works. If we knew the little season was coming and we said, fuck them niggas, we ain't gonna give them nothing, they gonna have to just figure it out for themselves, they would have done things how they do things. How do they do things? How do they do things is how they do things. With them AK-47s, with that demonic energy, with that chattel slavery, with that, you know, putting foot to ass. So at a certain point, you civilize them up as much as you can because you know they're going to be in control. And they have been in control. They have deceived the nations. The nations is not Botswana, France. The nations are the tribes of Israel that were scattered. So we're scattered so bad that they don't even know who they are. Most of us don't know who we are. We don't know our bloodline. Therefore, when it comes to a daddy, it is the government. It is the schools. It is the societal structure. And when that collapses, we're going to feel like it is us that collapsed. But I'm telling you, all of this particular truth has existed pre-colonial. And really, I just want to break it down in the most simplest, easy understandable way, right? It's a show on HBO. Shout out to Jabri. He hit me to it, and then I finally started to watch it. It's called the Gilded Age. Now, the Gilded Age is a period after the Civil War, about the late 1870s to the late 1890s, which occurred before the Reconstruction and the Progressive Era. It was named by 1920s historian after Mark Twain's 1873 novel, The Gilded Age, A Tale of Today. Historians saw the late 19th century economic expansion as a time of materialistic excesses marked by widespread political corruption. And then you're going to have to ask yourself this question. If now 1776, they're just founding the country and they're just now starting, 100 years later, they're inventing shit that the world has never seen before. My point is this, and it's going to be a hard point to make, but this is my point nonetheless. The world that they inherited is not much different from the world that we live in now. So they wasn't Drake coming to this country. They didn't start from the bottom, now they here. They were given a lot of this technology because this technology was already here, because America was not this wooded wasteland of tribal Indians just living in trees and shit. Because the ways for which the inventions was invented during the Gilded Age, like I did my research. I looked at the Stuart Age, all the previous ages. Niggas was like, yeah, we invented the cotton gin. That was real big. Nah, nigga, we talking about the automobile, the light bulb, flying machines, sewing machines, telephone, telegraph. Mind you, since they came here, they have been warring with indigenous populations. So you got to do the knowledge. We going to take over in war and we going to invent stuff, or we going to take over in war and steal your inventions and say that these inventions are ours from our people. What do y'all think it is? Was these warmongering motherfuckers also inventing shit that the world have never seen? You mean to tell me y'all world-class warmonger beasts, but also the smartest motherfuckers on the planet too? Y'all can have it both ways? Are ones in the chat, if y'all following me down this logical tree, or do I just sound so fucking crazy right now? Because I don't know. I could be sounding crazy. They were still fighting wars. They were still in the midst of the Indian Wars, and they were trying to establish this country. But, yo, let's invent shit that the world have never seen. Oh, in the midst of us fighting wars, let's create some buildings that the world have never seen. All over this bitch. And I just want to know if I'm making sense. That's all. So the year 1776 was pivotal for the founding of America, as the 13 colonies declared their independence from Great Britain and began the process of forming a new nation. The Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, a formal document largely written by Thomas Jefferson that outlined the reasons for separation and established the United States as an independent entity. This act launched the American Revolutionary War. So think about it, y'all. These people say, we gonna come into America and we going to establish a government. And motherfuckers said, okay, we about to whoop your motherfucking ass. We about to fight about it. Or no, the fuck you not about to establish a government. What I'm trying to show you is that when they established the government, it was met with conflict. So if I'm going to take over a country, it's one thing if ain't nobody there fighting back. But it's a whole nother thing if I'm coming in this motherfucker saying I'm about to take over this motherfucker. That to me is, well, it's not so demonic. The demonic part about the whole shit is that they act like there was no conflict in their expedition and exploration and conquering of this land. Since there is no conflict, that means there is no people here. But I'm telling you, when you Google the Indian Wars, you're gonna find thousands of battles. Now, I want to ask you something. Do you think that the people that the American quote-unquote army were fighting were just some guerrilla warfare niggas with paint on their foreheads because you saw that shit in a movie? Or do you think it was much more sophisticated, that they really had to fight for their fucking lives? And then once they fought, they were like, man, you know what? This can't ever happen again, right? We're going to strip their whole history for them. We're going to switch up all of the names, and we are going to establish ourselves as the Native Americans. So the real shit, and you're not going to be able to argue with me about this. When we think about Native Americans, we're thinking about Europeans that conquered the place, right? And when you think about indigenous, we don't think about indigenous. We think that the Native Americans were the indigenous. And the reason that we think this way is because of the concept of the 5 civilized tribes. How many tribes was there here? How about there was no tribes? There were grand mound cityscapes, pyramids, buildings, trolley systems, technology, telephones, automobiles. Of course, I sound crazy at that point because they told you it was only 5 civilized tribes in this whole entire nation, and all of them was, for lack of better words, African booty scratchers. They was uncivilized until they were adopted many aspects of European culture. Think about how much of a mind fuck that is. Your 5 civilized tribes adopt many aspects of the American culture. And I want you to do a little test for yourself one day. Look up the Cherokee leaders around this time. Look up the Chickasaw leaders around this time. Choctaw leaders, Creek leaders, Seminole leaders. What you're going to find is that they had white daddies. They had white daddies, and they had whatever you call Siberian mothers, if that. A lot of them was $5 Indians where you just signed on this paper. Now I'm a Cherokee. So a whole swath of indigenous people go undocumented, unknown, and under the banner of African American, under the banner of slaves. So the paper bag test is not a scientific test, but it was scientific enough to whereas if you was darker than this paper bag, you was considered from Africa without any ship logs, without any family from Africa. You don't got a great-great-great-grandma to save your motherfucking life, nigga. You couldn't pay to when they say you from Nigeria, Nigeria is a country. A country is a governmental structure. There's no Nigerian tribe. There's no Ghana tribe. You can't be from these countries. If you was going to be from tribes, once again, the West Africans did not sell their tribesmen into slavery. They pulled people from the Congo. They pulled people from Egypt. They pulled people from Central and East Africa and sold them niggas. Because black people, amongst black people, we not all looking at black people like you my brother. We don't even like niggas from the west side of town. So you think I'm gonna give a fuck about a nigga from Congo and I live in Nigeria? And a lot of those Africans were sent to Brazil, was sent to the islands. The smallest percent was sent to America because the people did not need more black people. They had enough black people to deal with. We was too busy whooping their motherfucking ass in this fucking 200-year war that nobody gets to talk about. The 5 civilized tribes, these unions contributed to the adoption of European customs like Christianity, centralized government, and it also led to a rise of mixed race individuals who became important leaders within the tribes. And this is who y'all choose to name y'all company after? Rockefeller died of AIDS. That was the end of his chapter. Like, what is we talking about? Oh, I'm a Cherokee. How? My grandma said it. This is propaganda. Because now we are something that we weren't. Because guess what? Guess what will flip this shit all over? You was a Moor. You was an Israelite. That will flip the whole shit over. So you mean to tell me everything about the Bible is about y'all niggas? Y'all niggas that I can't stand? Y'all niggas that I hate, and I don't even understand why I hate y'all so much? Maybe because I hate y'all because God chose y'all to love. And he didn't choose me to love. God loves you, Americans. He gave y'all D'Angelo. He gave y'all Prince. He gave y'all Michael Jackson. He gave y'all Michael Jordan. He gave y'all Mike Tyson. He just giving y'all all the Michaels. All we get is Afro beats. That's not right. That's all we got is Afro beats. We got Tim's, and we got the one nigga saying, "Who getting fucked tonight?" That's all we got. Y'all got LeBron James. Y'all got Venus and Serena Williams. All we got is Tyler the Creator and Maxo Cream. That's not right. That's not right. God loves y'all. God loves African Americans. God loves Black people. That's why they hate you. Because you're not Black. You're not African American. You are an Israelite. You are a Moorish American. You are a descendant from Christ. You are a descendant from Christ. Because this is all like bloodline shit and secret society shit. And the whole world will conspire against you to suppress you. You would never even think it though. Like you would never even think it. Like you would wake up, go to work. Your goddamn supervisor know. The owner of the company know. Your girlfriend know. The nigga driving the bus picking you up know. You don't see the kingdom of heaven within yourself. You see the kingdom of heaven within a bottomless pit, and now you have to wake up. You have to. You have to. Because if you don't wake up, the devil going back. You gonna go back with him? Or you gonna start trusting and believing in God? Well, who is God? It's in your heart. It's in your meditation. It's in your relaxation. It's in your withdrawing. It's within your letting go. It's within your submission. It's within your baptism. It's within your immersion. It's within your research. It's within your love. It's within you opening your eyes, being awake. It's within your patience. It's within your forgiveness. Oh, you will see God all over this motherfucker. Everywhere you look, you will see God if you just start operating and living in principles. The indigenous refers to the original inhabitants of a land before a colonial power arrived. Now, refresher, when did the colonial power arrive? Plymouth Rock didn't land on, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. The colonial power arrived in 1776. None of this shit can be argued with. You're going to have to come to the realization, you're going to have to look into the mirror and say, God damn it, we've been living in Satan's little season, and the goddamn government is ran by the motherfucking devil. That means all its institutions, all its SNAP benefits, because once again, they talk about fucking SNAP welfare program. How much did Elon Musk get from the government? Elon Musk companies have received at least 38 billion in government funding. Is Elon Musk a welfare queen? One's in the chat if Elon Musk is a welfare queen. Elon Musk, just like your baby mama with the bonnet. Talking about where are my stamps at? Elon Musk just one of many niggas getting free handouts from the government, and the reason why, oh my God, I gotta get into the reason why. We're gonna be here for a long time, I'm sorry. John Law, the Mississippi bubble. This was the first dude in France that said, hey, what I wanna do is turn paper into money. And the French government said, that sounds good. Let's see if it works. And so John Law was like, all right, you know, we got some territory in Louisiana along the Mississippi River. Let's tell these niggas that it's gold there. And we need somebody to invest in the fact of it being gold. And they found some shit in the Mississippi Valley, but they ain't find as much gold as they thought they was going to find. But that was 2, 3, 4 years into niggas investing in this company, to the point that John Law, they was like, damn, John Law, you fucked it up, because they did a bank run on him, and he fled the country, ended up dying. But John Law had a friend. Walk with me. It's all gonna make sense in a minute. John Law had a friend named Goethe. I forget. He was a poet. I don't remember his first name. Okay. Johann Wolfgang Goethe was a major German poet, novelist, playwright, statesman, scientist. Goethe, because he was cool with John Law, he wrote a play called Faust, right? Faust, the tragedy, a play by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Those who have ears, right? And Mephistocles, which is the devil in this particular movie or play, the way for which Mephistopheles was going to bless the main character, Faust, was through alchemy. I gotta walk y'all through it, because this is how my brain works. Y'all like, this nigga crazy, bro. I know. I'm literally sitting here with this crazy ass mind. I know it's crazy. The alchemy in Goethe's Faust is central to its dramatic conception, is not merely added for effect. Meaning that they was working with the alchemy and it almost worked. The only thing was France's army wasn't strong enough to enforce the lie. But in reference to the previous article, John Law, and 300 years later, what we are dealing with is a perfected, and I say that in quotations, of this particular alchemy. What is the alchemy? We are going to turn this paper into a valuable commodity. And once people feel that this paper, this is a goddamn humidity controller that I got in my hand. Do y'all got the faith that this humidity controller is worth $5,000? If 1,000 people said that this humidity controller was worth $5,000, it is so. So America, 40, 50 million people strong, maybe 300 million, I don't know. It's a lot of millions of people here. They all believe and have faith that the dollar is worth something. And the tricky part of this is that it is the government that is going to enforce this particular value in only the government, in only its military force. Because at this present moment, the government has shut down. They have effectively sent all of its SNAP and welfare recipients text messages saying, we are no longer giving you any money. What's the irony in this situation? They never gave you money ever. They only gave you faith. And they gave it to the actual stores that could use it as faith payments. Because they get your food stamps, and then they got to do more paperwork and say, we got this amount of food stamps. Can we get this amount of money in return from the government? And that's another process. So all of these processes are working out to just be mere calculations. So I'm saying this to say, this have always been a plan to have you be reliant on the government. Because when you rely on the government, you're not able to understand alchemy either. Your alchemy is just dependent on a motherfucker. Thinking you got one up. This and Mephistopheles, whatever the fuck this nigga's name is a devil. He is a demonic character to which he is going to ask you to sell your soul. Selling your soul is the same as not doing alchemy. Another way of alchemy is creating the value of self that can be transferred and translated into all different types of things. Shout out to the alchemical women that have husbands that work for them. Shout out to the alchemical fellas that got a sugar mama. You feel me? You lay that dick down so good, she be paying your bills. So what? That pussy so wet, that pussy so tight, that nigga like, you can stay here for the night. I told y'all I'm a poet. Sometimes I don't be knowing it all the time. It just comes to me, right? You need to be doing alchemy. You need to turn nothing into something. And this story Faust was for the secret societies. Goethe reveals through his drama various transformational processes working in the human soul personified in Faust. Goethe struggles to weave the personal inner journey of Faust towards some enlightenment together with the social forces that are undergoing transformation through the historical process. Right? And so what I'm seeing, what you'll start to see is like the fall of Rome, the fall of Egypt, the fall of the Soviet Union is going to be the fall of America. And we will think like America did something wrong or whatever the case may be. No, they did what they were supposed to do. They had a 250-year period to deceive the nations. And that's what they did. How did they deceive the nations? Through money. You ain't seen your grandma in 10 years because you can't afford it. If you could afford to see me, Ma, you would go see me, Ma, but you don't got enough money. Your ass need to go to work. Me, Ma, I know you're getting later in age and I can't see you because I'm broke as hell. It's all about family. It's all about connection. When you enter a fake dichotomy towards what everybody is working towards, it's ironic. You work so fucking hard. You work damn near every day and you don't have much to show for it. And I'm not saying it as a diss. I'm saying it that was the design of the devil. 100 times 0 is 0. To which, what is the true value? The true value is how you feel. Having this business, right? whiterabbitpsych.com. It's certain people that buy mushrooms all the time, right? Like always get mushrooms. And those people generally have a lot of money, because I understand that these people, like myself, understand the power of feeling good, the power of using psychedelics in a way to whereas you're not just using them to get high, you're using them like my one dude, he go to them like them tanks. I forget what they call, like them dark tanks. And he an avid user when he in, like that's what he do, right? But he work in the financial district. Like, but what certain class of people understand is that feeling good is why you're here to be on life, be in this world. Like understanding my body, because you know I got a wife, and so it's certain ways that I take care of myself, my sexual health, my physical health. Like that's always fun to experience. Like as I get stronger, as my energy, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel the experience more intently every time. And it's like, so it's enjoyable, like to make love, to exist with a woman that is connected to you at a spiritual level. And in our relationship, it's like I couldn't afford the love that I receive. It go way beyond finances and stuff when you find like true love. But once again, why can't you find a lover like that? Because you're too busy working. How you gonna really be in a relationship with somebody knowing your work schedule? And you know what you like to do in your days off. You like to go to sleep. Your ass be knocked out on them days off. You be like, girl, I just took a nap. What we about to do? Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Girl, I fell back to sleep again. I don't even know what happened. I don't know why I'm so tired. Spirit have been telling me to bring this back up. I hope I'm not stepping on no toes or making nobody feel upset. I'm sorry. PCOS significantly impacts women in the workplace, leading to lower work quality, increased absences, and a higher risk of disability due to symptoms like fatigue, pain, mental health issues. When I be seeing women at work, I have the habit now to look at the top of their head to see that bald spot like, oh, that's that PCOS. That's that. What is PCOS though? What is PCOS? This is to all my hard-working women out there that don't believe that the kingdom of heaven is within them. It is within their hard working at that motherfucking bullshit-ass job, right? That's paying them enough just so they can get there and come back and live in a house so they can get there and come back, right? They ain't giving them no type of bonuses, no extras. You be damned if they give you goddamn overtime, but you don't even want overtime. You trying to get up out that motherfucker, okay? PCOS is a hormonal disorder that affects women of a reproductive age. So your prime years is spent working like a motherfucking dog, okay? And it's going to disrupt and distort your whole entire quality of life moving forward. Of course, you need to survive. Of course, you know you hate men, right? You hate men. You need to survive. So you're going to get a job so you don't have to deal with men, and you're going to survive. But your hormones is going to be shot. And when we get into deep spiritual communications and ways that you can show up for, you know, the spiritual collective, you ain't going to be really ready to do it. Because we can talk about yoga. We can talk about starting a business. We can talk about meditation, healing works. having your business work in alignment, having the proper insurances. Because you serious about that insurance. I really work here because they got good benefits. Like the benefit, I've been working here for 20 years, and I be having like the lowest co-pays on my insurance. It's just like, I know it don't pay the best, but start a business, set up a benefits package with the same insurance provider, right? Figure it out in a way that you're doing something that represents the Aquarian age, that represents really helping people, really pushing people into a higher frequency as you being a rainbow child, a crystal child. Like you are sent here as an angel with a key to the bottomless pit. You can bind the devil. You have so much spiritual power, but motherfuckers don't know because you care too much about that job. And that job is fucking you up. It's fucking you up. It's not helping you hormonally. And it's generally for women who are having periods on a monthly basis. Because guess what? When you're on your period and you want to lay down, you don't think your body knows that. You don't think your body know? You like, well, my supervisor said we got to turn in this project by Friday, so I can't lay down. So you're going against your body's instruction. What is that going to do? It's going to disrupt your hormones. Now, I don't even know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. It don't have to be a man. You got 3 friends and y'all all got kids. Why don't y'all all 3 work together as a sisterhood? Like it's all about making the load easier for the next person. The ways for which we were in a little season is that we congratulated working a job, making the money. And the irony is, it's a government shutdown and they still taking taxes out of your motherfucking check. How's it a government shutdown and y'all still taking taxes? It ain't shut down to the point where they can still take from you, but they shut down to the point where they can give to. So, just to tie up this bow, indigenous refers to the original inhabitants of the land before a colonial power arrived in 1776, while Native Americans can be more general, referring to anyone born in a specific place. So when they say Native Americans, they specifically talking about themselves. They're speaking to Europeans who are born in America as a European immigrant or had parents as European immigrants, and they say Native American, and they are very strong about Native Americans. It's all this Native American history because Native American history is European history. One in the chat if you understand that. One in the chat if you see that. Okay? So don't never get caught up when they say Native Americans. Understand, a Native American is a white person. Civilized tribes are white people. We are indigenous. We are the original inhabitants of this land before the colonial power arrived. And then, and this is a different section, but it's all synonymous with Satan's little season. In 1776, Idam Weishaupt, a former Jesuit and professor of the University of Ingolstadt, founded the society, the Order of the Illuminati, with several students. Originally known as the Order of Perfectibilis, it was inspired by Freemasonry and Enlightenment ideals. The group's name derived from the Latin Illuminatus, which means enlightened, reflected its aim to spread reason and knowledge. Why? Weishaupt wanted to create an elite group of influential leaders who could promote secular and rational ideas to advance society. He saw the group as a way to subvert the established power of the monarchy in the Catholic Church. But now, at the same time, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson is establishing a country that could promote secular and rational ideas. What is secular, though? Like, what is secular? Secular means not connected with religious or spiritual matters. So why then at 1776 was Weishaupt and George Washington trying to promote a secular and rational idea? Meaning that it was anti-religion, it was anti-spiritual components because it was demonic. And when we talk about the monarchy, when we talk about the Catholic Church, we have to understand that these things were subverted. Weishaupt's goal was to subvert the established power. What was the established power? It was Christ's kingdom. It was Christ's people, because Christ was a Messiah for the tribes of Israel. But this particular king was able to rule the whole entire world through a kingdom and also through a religion that didn't wonder if their God was real. They bear witness to their God through the way that they were living for thousands of years. So to separate from that, what Weishaupt and the Freemasons, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson did was create a government democracy system. This is how this thing is going to work. We're going to create a system of a two-party system, and we're going to replace leaders every 4 years, while at the same time, the undercurrent of the government is going to be hereditary. Right? Because you got to look up things like at the same time the government was getting started, there was also these societies within the government that was getting started at the same time as the political structure was happening. And these societies were fraternal and hereditary. Would God create a system where we could vote for two people that don't even matter? When you go into the churches and people, your reverend telling you should vote for Kamala, your reverend telling you should vote for Trump, but your reverend not even giving you no keys and codes to access the kingdom of heaven within you. But then the undercurrent of this particular country, which is the societies, the secret societies, the Freemasons, you can't get voted into these societies. And that's why these societies are the real controllers. The president is not a controller. These secret societies are the controllers, but then you start to even understand why and what is going on. The Society of Cincinnati was founded in 1783 to commemorate the American Revolutionary War that saw the creation of the United States. Now, what is the United States? The United States is an occupation of a landmass. It isn't an empty space. These white people come and they get to colonize this whole entire space. No. These people are instructed to institute an organization the same way Paul did in the Bible. Let me go out to all of the churches and set up, we got to figure out the cities, the towns, the structure, the layout, because we have a very important job. We have to deceive the nations for 250 years, and we have to do it to the best of our ability. The first level of deception, it feel good, right? They give you food stamps. They're giving you $25,000 first home loans and shit. Then they take the food stamps away, and then the mortgage payment is an unfixed rate. It started as $1,000 a month. Now it's $5,000 a month. You got $7,000 in property tax, and you don't got it. So now the bank is saying you got to move. And all I say to that, it was all good just a week ago, right? And so the Illuminati, they basically subvert all Freemasonic, all type of ideals, and more or less are in full control. They not called the Illuminati no more, but the ways for which they got into this particular power, it still remains as a stronghold. And the reason why it remains as a stronghold is because it is Freemasonic. And Freemasonic is a derivative of the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar got all of their information. I'm just now getting started with this damn lecture. I just remember I got like 15 more slides to get to. I told y'all, this one's going to be a doozy. We got to break this shit down. George Washington was a Freemason, the first president in 1776. However, John Henson, born in Charles County, Maryland, on April 3rd, 1715, John Henson became one of the strongest colonial advocates of independence. From 1781 to 1782, he was the President of the United States and Congress assembled under the Articles of Confederation. Now, many people say that John Henson was more or less a Caucasian. But then you also see pictures of him being a black man. And the reason that I think he was a black man is because in North Carolina, there was a I can't think of what it was called. In like the 1860s in North Carolina. I'm explaining why it was so crazy. I gotta find it though. Found it. Gonna take me a minute. You know they try to hide shit as much as they possibly can. So in 1898, the Wilmington incident was a white supremacist coup and massacre that overthrew the legitimately elected multiracial government from Wilmington, North Carolina. It was the culmination of months-long white supremacy campaign designed to eliminate the black political power in the city and state. And this always confused me, because how did black people from slavery become basically full-on governmental representators in the deep South 30 years later? It really just didn't make sense to me. And the only way that I factored it in when I first read about it was that these people had already been dignified and learned men before, during, and after slavery. And at this particular time, the Reconstruction era was basically a continuation of suppression of the true Hebrew Israelites, the true children of God, to make sure that they don't exist in no platform of having no power or no significance. In the ways for which they was going to shut it down was through mob rule. So from Tulsa to Rosewood to Wilmington, anytime you seen black people organize and get into their normal 1-2 of things, they was coming to fuck that shit up. And so from 1776 to 2025, all of this shit that's happening in this country as a result of the government, I feel like we shouldn't even be complaining or crying or worrying, because this is how these niggas was never our friends to begin with. And we need not fight with these motherfuckers because they end is coming sure enough. We need not be worried about these motherfuckers because their end is coming sure enough. So a government and a governmental person is not an ally. A government system, a federal employee, is not an ally. And it could be good people. I know good niggas that work for the government. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm saying the inception and purpose of the government is to control and rule and subdue God's chosen people. And they're going to make sure of it until the government collapsed. So in reference to how this thing could play out is that everybody could get their just due and we could exist in a paradise. Or you don't give everybody his just due because you love the devil so much and you selfish that much that you're willing to collapse your whole entire empire, everything your ancestors fought and killed for, just because you wanted to go against God. So as we stated earlier, the government is shut down. One of the main things within this shutdown is no SNAP benefits. And a lot of people have been on social media coming about it, and it seems as though that the government has no plans on shutting up. No pun intended. But with this being said, I'm just saying all of this to say, it's better to live your life in 2025, going into 2026, like the government don't exist. And if the government don't exist, how would you live? How would you move? What would you prioritize? What survival skills do you have outside of the government, outside of, not having electricity and things of that nature? What is your recourse? What is your solution? Because what I'm noticing and what I'm seeing, if these stats is anywhere near true, SNAP serves an average of 41.7 million participants per month. Now, this is the land of the free, home of the brave. This is supposed to be God's country. Why are 41 million people starving? The answer to that is God has nothing to do with SNAP benefits. You have been given everything you need to thrive. And even if you wouldn't thrive, you would at least have fruit trees and wild fruit and wild veggies growing all over the place. But how do we know that the devil runs this country? Because it's illegal. It is not a widespread legal ban, but many U.S. cities have local ordinances that restrict and ban planting certain female trees because they create a nuisance from messy fruit and seeds. So instead of walking outside and pulling a damn apple from the tree, you would be more subject to starve. The system that we are under is evil. Evil in a way where it'll rather give you fish than teach you how to fish. How do we know we live in Satan's little season? How do we know that the devil is in full control? Because instead of cutting off the 800 billion to over 1 trillion in defense, or taking half of that in housing and feeding the population, which it could do, it refuses to. And instead of giving you 40 billion so your kids don't starve, it gives you nothing. While you continue to build army tanks and AK-47 and drones and laser bullets. These are the reasons that you know we are living in Satan's little season and that the government is ruled by a demonic entity. Now, the interesting thing about this country, which we knew that this was a black country, France knew that it was a black country, but in reference to the Statue of Liberty, so Lucifer, which represents the Statue of Liberty, is a symbol for European immigrants. So the fact of European immigrants is also a fact of them populating this planet. I mean, not this planet, this landmass. And everything that you were and everything that you stood for, it was usurped and replaced by the millions of immigrants. that were able to come over here via Ellis Island. So, which once was a symbol for freedom, was aggressively changed to become a symbol of the devil, a symbol of Lucifer, a symbol of European immigrants that were able to exist in the many small towns and settlements and cities as proto rulers, as demigods, as we just look as like, wow, y'all are so amazing for these buildings that y'all didn't build. Like, y'all are so amazing for these roads that y'all didn't pave. Y'all are so amazing for this country that y'all didn't build. Y'all just had millions of immigrants take over this, basically this war-torn land, and strip every melanated person that you can think of their inheritance. So the original Statue of Liberty was quickly replaced. And one of the ways that you know that this was a 52 fake out, because they can't lie to you, is the feet to the Statue of Liberty is in chains. So once again, another reason that you know you're living in the little season is because presently the US currency in all circulation is at $2.418 trillion. How much money do we owe? $38 trillion and growing. That's $110,000 per citizen, kids included, for the average taxpayer. That's saying that you've accumulated $327,000 in debt. One's in the chat if you never accumulated that much money in debt. Why have y'all accumulated $327,000 worth of debt in y'all lifetime? Y'all done got a credit card with a $100,000 limit? Because who the fuck is lying? Niggas got a couple of cars. At best, 50,000. How the hell you being on the clock for $327,000 worth of debt? How is your kids who just got born being accredited with $100,000 in debt? And then how the hell is we supposed to pay $38 trillion in debt when there's only $2 trillion in circulation? Meaning that if we all put all of our money collectively in a pot to pay the debt, we would still owe $36 trillion. What is that? That is a bottomless pit. So once again, how do we connect this to Satan's little season? Because Satan is employed by God to test you, but he is not equal to God. He is just one of God's managers. Now, a manager can get on your nerves, and a manager can have some power, right? A manager can fire you, but you would never say the manager is equal to the owner of the company. So King Philip of France had debt to the Knights Templar because he was borrowing money from the Knights Templar. So therefore, he orchestrated their arrest and dissolution to seize their vast wealth and eliminate a rival financial power. The Templars were influential bankers. The Templars were influential bankers who lent money to monarchs for wars and other ventures. And when Philip needed funds, he had them arrested on false charges of heresy and torturously forced them to confess. The Knights Templar financial system was a revolutionary banking system that operated like a medieval multinational bank, providing services like letters of credit for pilgrims, loans to monarchs and nobles, and secure deposits of wealth. Their system was built on their extensive network of commanderies across Europe and the Middle East, which facilitated international money transfers in a sophisticated way of managing vast financial resources. They are considered a precursor to modern day banking. Due to their innovations in secure money transfer, creating trust, and offering financial products like loans and credit. Now, the question I got you gonna ask is, how the fuck did these dudes, out of nowhere, a system like this had not existed ever, and out of nowhere, they like, you know what? We're gonna be bankers. We're gonna loan money to kings and queens. We're going to sit on Solomon's temple, right? Because once again, we got to do the knowledge. Because niggas going to argue. Solomon, 72 demons of Goethe. The Solomon 72 demons of Goethe refer to the 72 demonic spirits listed in the Goetia. The first book of the grimoire is the Lesser Key of Solomon, attributed to King Solomon. This text details how to summon these spirits who hold various ranks like king, blah, blah, blah. King, duke, president, command legions of lesser demon. Each demon has a unique power and abilities, which can include teaching skills, revealing hidden knowledge, influencing others, with a specific seal or sigil used for summoning. So what does this have to do with the Knights Templar? Knights Templar and Temple Mount. They were founded in 1118 to defend pilgrims on their way to Jerusalem, with their headquarters located there on the Temple Mount, and existed there for nearly 2 centuries during the Middle Ages. The Temple Mount, where they had their headquarters, had a mystique because it was above what was believed to be the ruins of the Temple of Solomon. And the 72 demons in Goetia, you can deal with that if you want to. I'm not against it. I do fuck with it. But it was really one motherfucker, though, that was named Asmodeus. Asmodeus tricked Solomon. And this is what I think is happening. This is what I'm thinking is going on. Asmodeus tricked King Solomon by tricking him into giving him his magic ring, which led Asmodeus casting Solomon far from his kingdom. And then Asmodeus impersonates Solomon. So what I'm thinking is the Temple Mount is just a resting place for Asmodeus. And Asmodeus is the demon that is able to communicate with the Knights Templar, which give them the system of alchemy, right? That give them the secrets of banking, right? But Asmodeus could easily be Mephistopheles. Right? It could be the same type of energy where Goethe is just like, yo, I need to figure something out. I don't know what to do. And they do these magical rituals, right? And then a demon show up. Look to the left. This is a picture of Mephistopheles, but to the left, you see a picture of Baphomet. So what I'm trying to say is that the information that these people get is not their own information. It's coming from a demonic realm, and they will institute it. They will give you all the tools that you need to destroy yourself or build yourself up. It's your choice. But you need to understand that it's not the human that is instituting it. It's the demon. And the person can decide, I will sell my soul just so I can live in a nice house. I will sell my soul just so I can live in a nice car. I don't give a fuck. You can have it. I'll be Cypher from the Matrix and I'll eat this steak. And so, saying all of this to say, till the 1,000 years he shall be fed, he shall be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. In this little season, I feel as though the demons are just able to run it, able to exist and set up shop, and everything looks all dignified, except that motherfuckers are struggling. Except that motherfuckers don't know where their next meal is coming from. Except motherfuckers is only caring about themselves. Except you can't find community. Except you can't go home. Except you don't got money like you need to. Except you ain't been traveling in the last 4 years. But other than that, everything's good. So just a quick overview and summary of the things that we talked about. And I saw a great angel come down from heaven. That angel descending down from heaven is your ability to understand that the kingdom of heaven is within you. If you understand 41 million people not having food stamps, you gotta understand the chaos that's gonna come behind that. And I don't want nobody to be afraid. I just want you to understand chaos and also have a higher awareness to move strategic, to not get caught lacking, to protect yourself, to operate within divine intuition. God put you on this earth for a specific reason and a specific purpose. Don't lose sight of that through the chaos, right? Because the verse goes on to say, you have the key to the bottomless pit, right? Having the key to the bottomless pit means that you have access. You have access to divine awareness. Like, you can stop the madness. Like, you can figure out what it is that you should do throughout all forms of chaos. Even so much so, it may not be chaos. And I pray that the government come up with a solution. But with all of that's happening, take it as a warning and operate more assuredly that this government might not be there for you in the ways that you think they will be. One of the more interesting things about this verse that I don't think many people picked up on was that the angel had a great chain in his hand, meaning that this angel was free. And this angel was on the offensive. This angel could lock you down, right? So the chain being in your hand is like you having control over your destiny. In the midst of chaos, one could fall subject to fear. In the midst of chaos, like, you could do some crazy shit. But I want you to keep focused and really get into the space of one day at a time, right? And really lock into what's important. Is excess, greed, materialism truly important? Well, that is not a chain being in your hand. You get it? That's you locked in that chain, because you can't have no control if you are under the order of the chain. But the chain being in your hand means that you can bind the devil, you can bind the illusion, you can bind anything that's holding you back. In the verse it goes, first you have the key to the bottomless pit, and then you cast the dragon, the serpent, the devil, Satan into that bottomless pit. You also are not having the faith and trust in the government, which have been the only thing that have stood this dollar up. So behind that shit, it's people that live great and people that live horrible just for existing. It's a lot of illusions. It's a lot of corruption. And when these things have happened in the past, the flip side have always come. It's always been, a revolution and a rebellion. Once people figured out they've been lied to, look out. And so, like a 9 year, right, that we've been experiencing, 2025 is a 9 year. It's appropriate that the government shut down, because eventually it'll start over. And this start over, like, if you had to struggle and you had to figure things out from the ground up, also you took what you learned from a past other cycle into a new cycle, well, you ahead of the game. Because you know what you're going to do, you know what you want to do, you know how to protect yourself, you basically know, you have the wisdom to move forward. Because you've been through all of this chaos. You've been through 9/11, 2008, 2020, now 2025. You done been through all of this shit. And it didn't kill you. It didn't break you down. And I promise you, this is one thing that I know is complete. If you made it through and it was tough and it was rough and it was sleepless nights that you could have cried, you stood and stared demons in your face. You allowed demons in your home, right? You made love to demons. You cooked for demons, only to be betrayed, only to be hurt. Motherfuckers sitting in your face, lying in your face, because they don't know God within themselves. And so when a person don't know that God is within them, you see the way that the demon can exist within them and rule and take over their life. I'm telling you, this whole cycle has reached its completion. The illusion of death, the ways for which you have stood up with your ancestors and lit a candle for your ancestors, held space for your ancestors, offerings for your ancestors. None of that was in vain. The way that you trusted in the divine, in the midst of all of this chaos, in the midst of all of this confusion, in the midst of all of this ignorance, this cycle is coming to an end. So with that being said, the ideas of purification through the means of relaxing, activating your chakras, right? Believing in Jesus. I'm just gonna say that. People like, Hood, you crazy for that one. No, we gotta start really believing and trusting in the death and resurrection of Jesus, but not in the way that you're thinking. Give me a second, I'll explain in the next slide. I don't think I fully went off the deep end. Reverend Hood, Apostolic Baptist Seventh-day Adventist First Church on the corner. Nah, I ain't going that far with it, but I'm saying Jesus is real. I know Jesus is real. I believe in the death and resurrection of Jesus. I bear witness to it every single day of my life. I wouldn't be here without Jesus. I understand it, and I see it, and I know it now. You know, I pray for peace in y'all heart, that y'all can see past the illusion. So I'm giving you 3 tips. Alice Bailey, one of the hardest people to read on the earth. Alice Bailey used the term glamour to describe how emotion colors perception, how desire disguises itself as truth. The economic illusion is a primary example of this glamour. In this world, we are taught wealth without wisdom, right? Just get rich by all means. Sell drugs to pregnant moms. Get that damn money. Sell drugs to kids. One's in the chat. Black people celebrate the drug dealer more than they celebrate the engineer. They gonna throw you a party for getting out of jail, but they ain't gonna throw you a party for getting your PhD. You started a business and nobody in your family supported you. None of your friends supported you. So once again, glamour is wealth without wisdom. Niggas want to get money until you start talking about, all right, this how we get money. One's in the chat. All right, we're going to come up with a plan to get some money. Niggas is not there. We going to get some money. Niggas is keyed in to, I want to get rich. I want to get money. All right, this how we going to do it. Oh, man, I don't know if I can do that. Glamour, wealth without wisdom. You ain't ready to sit down and do marketing with me on a daily basis. You ain't trying to promote your business. Niggas promote their business for 2 weeks. Man, this shit ain't working. Wealth without wisdom. That's glamour. Freedom through consumption. That's glamour. You feel you happy if you buying shit. What is it called? Retail therapy. Well, retail therapy is not actual therapy. It's just freedom through consumption. You just want to buy shit. That's glamour. Because once you buy some shit, what you thinking about? Buying some more shit. Another way we see glamour is democracy masking control. And so democracy, Trump, he's such a strong leader. Let's rely on him. And I say that this quote unquote bad economy is just a wake-up call to your sovereignty. It is the necessary purification of this glamour. Because if you don't purify it, you're not even going to recognize it to be a glamour. What do I say about illumination? Without it, you don't even realize that the illusion is the illusion because you don't even understand how powerful your soul is. If you don't understand how powerful your soul is, you think that your husband is the best thing ever. You think that your kids is the best thing ever. You think that your job, your title, your career is the best thing ever. You think that your friends, how you look, the type of dick you getting, the kind of pussy you getting is the best thing ever. But the reality is your soul is the best thing ever. And if you don't understand that, it's all going to appear as glamour. And glamour is an illusion. It is an emotional illusion. It's like looking at a bubble floating around in the sky. And the motherfucker telling you that that's heaven. You believe that this bubble floating in the sky is heaven, and then it get popped. You like, where heaven go? It was a lie. It's not true. It ain't heaven. It's just a fucking bubble. Here go motherfucking a bubble wine. You can blow another bubble. We can blow bubbles all fucking day. It don't mean shit. What you buy, how much money you got. Do you understand that the kingdom of heaven is within you? Do you have a personal relationship with Jesus? Most people, especially black conscious people, they hate Jesus. They don't even believe in God. They literally say, when I get my money, it's fuck y'all. When I be able to buy my house, it's fuck y'all. It's cool. I got a government job. Fuck y'all. My government job put me in all over different places all over the world. I'm a much better person now that I work for this government. And you a worse person because you don't work for the government. That's glamour. When the collective consciousness disengages from the illusion of money, luxury, status, the emotional fog begins to lift. So what I see happening is a period of chaos that would allow people to see how many opportunities it is for them to be assisted and assist, because we are being blocked out through glamour. We've all been together existing in this wonderful place called Earth, but we have just been following the wrong God. We've been worshiping the wrong God. This God of materialism, this God of sex, this God of lust, this God of greed. So once again, I believe in the death and resurrection because I go to sleep and I wake up every damn day. One's in the chat. I'm able to dream. I'm able to relax. I'm able to trust. I'm able to have faith that, you can put me in the most chaotic situation. I'm not going to give up on God. I know that in the midst of the most chaotic situation, I'm going to land on my feet. Because God have proven himself to me, herself to me over and 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 over again. I'm 41 years old. Saying I will be nothing without the power of God radiating through my life. I ain't shit without God. That's just my story. That's just how I feel about this shit. If it wasn't for God, man, boy, oh boy, I wouldn't be nothing or nobody. So let's bring up John chapter 6, verse 52 through 54 in the easy to read version. Because when people say they believe in Jesus, this is the Jesus that I believe in. The Jesus that you can eat. I'm gonna eat this nigga. You're like, you gonna eat a white man? Nope. I ain't gonna eat a white man. You gonna eat a human being? Nope. I'm gonna eat Jesus. Because the Bible is explicit when it's talking about Jesus. And now, once again, argue with me all day and night. But if it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't be able to cut these lights on. I broke my computer screen not too long ago. If it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't be able to fix this motherfucker because I don't even got Apple Pay on this or Apple Care on this motherfucker. They have been sending me these goddamn emails, and then when I got around to it, they're like, nah, it's too late, my nigga. We warned you for like 6 months. Apple Care denied. I said, fuck, and I'm just existing. damn near cracked my goddamn phone. My laptop screen. I had to take this goddamn thing to the shop. Do you believe that these motherfuckers said that I had to pay them money for them to fix my goddamn laptop screen? I said, I'm the servant of God. I'm a vessel, a channel for the Lord himself, herself, Sophia Pleroma. I'm a cosmological messenger sent from the stars. That nigga said, yeah, $59.99. We'll have it fixed by the end of the day. We'll call you when it's done. So I paid him, and when I paid him, I said, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Without you, I wouldn't even have had this $59.99. I'm telling y'all the motherfucking truth, man. I ain't shit. I am guided every day by Jesus's words and his teachings. In the Bible, this is the verse that none of the Christians really want to read or talk about. Because either you are a cannibal or Jesus isn't a man at all. Remember when I said that I didn't even say it. I need to get into it. When we talk about Jewish lore and Jewish religion, it's not that they created anything. Everything in reference to Jewish religion, Jewish concepts, ideology have been stolen from other cultures and histories. The mythology of Jesus is not that different from the mythology of Dionysus. And the ways for which, let's just get into it, man, because we've been here for a while. I got 2 more slides. I'm sure y'all don't mind getting into this. The Meniads were the female followers of Dionysus and the most significant members of his retinue, the Theises. Their name, which comes from Menoema, to rage, to be mad, to rage, to be angry, literally translate as raving ones. Maenads were known as Basarids, Bacchae, Bacchantes. In Roman mythology, after the penchant of their equivalent Roman god, Bacchus. Often the Maenads were portrayed as inspired by Dionysus into a state of erratic frenzy through a combination of dancing and intoxication. Because I want you to tap in, not tap out, right? But once again, is y'all ready? I'm talking about the sister friend group that go on a girls trip to Miami and shit like that. And y'all will drink the fucking liquor. If I'm lying, let me know if I'm lying. But if I ain't lying, put a 1 in the chat. The girls trip, y'all go to the liquor, y'all have fun, y'all dance, y'all cry, y'all sit at the beach, y'all take pictures, y'all go home, y'all always linking up, y'all best of the friends. But I'm talking about taking some mushrooms, playing the drumming and dancing into an ecstatic frenzy. Can we do that though? Can we do rituals as a friend group? I'm just asking the ladies. Because y'all want to be meek and mild. Oh, listen. Now tell me if I'm lying. She get her a boyfriend. She no longer knows you anymore. One's in the chat. they were inspired by Dionysus. So what we got to stop thinking is that Dionysus was a person and these are people, but more of a personification. The girls worship Dionysus through a combination of dancing and intoxication. Dionysus precedes Jesus. If we got to get into it, let's get into it. A short story of linking Jesus and Dionysus. What does Dionysus have to do with Jesus? It may surprise you to learn. I'm gonna get to the part where we're going to say that we're going to eat Jesus and we're going to be proud of it because we know exactly what the fuck they're talking about when they say Jesus. What does Dionysus have to do with Jesus? It may surprise you to learn that many people have suggested the links between the two. The Paris Olympics is simply the latest in a long line of comparisons between Jesus and the god of wine. People have pointed out the way that they were both sons of God, both born of a human woman, and both began cults that were held in suspicion. The same thing that they say about the Miniads is the same thing that they say about the Gnostic Christians. These motherfuckers are crazy. These motherfuckers is weird. Some scholars of John's Gospel even draw links between Dionysus as the god of wine and Jesus who turned water into wine. Now, of course, there are going to be differences. What is the link between Dionysus and Jesus? And I will tell you, all you have to do is read the Dionysus mythology. In ancient Greek religion and myth, Dionysus is the god of winemaking, orchids, and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, and ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. He was also known as Bacchus by the Greeks. For a frenzy he is said to induce, called Bacchaea. His wine, music, and ecstatic dance were considered to free his followers from self-conscious fear and care and subvert the oppressive restraints of the powerful. His thyrsus, a fennel stem scepter, sometimes wound with ivy and dripping with honey, is both beneficent wine and a weapon used to destroy those who oppose his cult and the freedom he represents. Those who partake of his mysteries are believed to become possessed and empowered by the god himself. So once again, all of this is very simple. I just want to get into the myth. Dionysus was born from the thigh of Zeus. After his own mother, Semele, was consumed in the lightnings of Zeus. So I got a real popular video on YouTube. All you got to do is cross-reference thunder and psychedelic, well, not even psychedelic, just thunder and mushrooms. Thunderstorms can promote mushroom growth as lightning strikes fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates that fungi can use for fuel. Studies have shown that electrical stimulation mimicking lightning can increase mushroom production by up to 200% by triggering the fungi's mycelium into a reproductive state. So very simple shit here, guys. You don't even have to worry or wonder, because it's only one thing that you're going to see all over the planet being grown from thunder: a death and resurrection, a Christ, to which you take it, and depending on how you take it, where you take it, you could transfer different dimensions, or you could just sit there in your room like Brandy, going fucking crazy, yawning and crying and shit because you didn't do no ritual behind it. So let's get back to the Bible verse real quick. Because then the Jews began to argue among themselves. They said, how can this man give us his body to eat? So I'm asking you, are y'all about to eat a white man, or y'all going to eat some food, some fruit, some vegetation? Because none of this is cannibalism. If it was cannibalism, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And it is not, it's not symbolic. Why is it not symbolic? Because Jesus said, believe me when I say that you must eat the body of the Son of Man. It didn't say, Jesus speaks in parables. In Matthew 13, chapter 10, verse 17, Jesus' disciples came and said to him, why do you use parables when you speak to the crowd? Jesus replied, because they haven't received the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but you have, nigga. For those who have will receive more, and those will have more than enough. But for those who don't have, even the little they have will be taken away from them. This is why I speak to crowds in parables. Although they see, they don't really see. And although they hear, they don't really hear or understand. Niggas will see it dead face. Believe me when I say to you, you must eat the body of the Son of Man. It's like a suspension of disbelief. It's like, well, what does he mean by this? Well, let's just make it a symbol for crackers. Crackers is now a symbol of the Son of Man, and not in my book. I mean, for you, if that's what you want to do, fine with me. But I can go online right now and get a box of crackers and the little cuppies of juice. Am I going to get any closer to God? And I promise you, if you want to do a voodoo ritual and you want to set up your voodoo ritual with candles, drums, and music, and you want to dance, and you take an eighth of shrooms, you're going to go to another dimension. I promise you, you're going to get a breakthrough. It's a way to take shrooms. It's a way not to take shrooms. That's just how it is. And I had to see it to believe it. For many years, I was just taking them. I don't take a shroom unless I'm doing a ritual. I will microdose throughout my day, but if I'm taking 3, 5, 7 grams, more than that, I got to set up the ritual. I got to take it, wait 30 minutes, and then once 30 minutes come, I start moving into my ritual. By the time they sit and I'm in the middle of my ritual, I don't even know what something else take over me. And I did that one time. I swear to God, I did a ritual in my house on some mushrooms, and my roof came off the house. It was the winter time, and I was in a tropical forest. I shit you not. I said, oh, this is this is deep. This is some next level shit right here. It's like you getting a gas tank, right? And instead of putting the gas in your car and driving, you just sit with the gas in your lap. It's like, man, I don't like this gas because this gas, it hurts my thighs because you're not using the gas right. Those who have ears can hear. Those who have eyes can see, right? You can see and not understand. You can hear and not understand what I'm saying. Once again, believe me when I say to you that you must eat the body of the Son of Man and you must drink his blood. If you don't do this, you have no real life. Those who eat my body and drink my blood have eternal life, and I will raise them up on the last day. We are living in the last days. What are you using as backup? What are you using as defense? Nothing. You're using fear as a defense. You're using ignorance as a defense. You're using, at least I got a job as defense. You're using elite. I don't even use food stamps as a defense. I mean, of course, I'm gonna get deeper into all of this, but I'm just, putting out little tasters, letting people know how this shit is. I've made it through the slideshow. Took me 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm gonna go back and timestamp all of this, but I'm just creating a library right now, and I'm documenting the things that's happening in the news, and I'm tying it into prophecy. I'm tying it into the little season, because the more points that I come to, the more that I'm coming into the realization that, we have been deceived for a long time and our eyes are going to be open. This cycle ending is going to be a rough cycle, right? It might be July of 2026 and all of the beginning of 2026 is chaotic and strange and weird, but I say believe in Christ. I say trust in Christ. And understand that those who eat of the body have eternal life, and those that don't, they have their own path, where it's logic and rational and secular and all about me, and not understanding the body of Christ, not understanding that there are weak people amongst us all. It's a lot that we go through. It's a lot that we fight for. But like I said, I'm just now getting started with this. So if you on this journey with me, be sure to, subscribe to the channel. You want to debate, you want to get on a panel and talk some things out. You got some questions, let me know. I want to open up this platform and this channel to conversations. So not just me yapping for 3 hours. I mean, it's fun, but I do like the exchange of it all. So if it resonates with you, and you got some other things that you think is a proof of the little season, let's talk about it in the comments. I love that. But with all that being said, whiterabbitpsych.com, we've always been there. We've always had discounts. We always will have discounts. We'll always be there for the people. This is not a business. This is a community to give people access to the medicines and to the food who don't have regular access to it, and information as well. So make sure you visit the site, check out all of our worksheets, check out all of our blogs, all of our articles. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email us, join our email list, and thanks for the support. Thank you for supporting me. If you are looking for other ways to support me, feel free to visit my Cash App, $HealerMystic38, because the time that I spend on researching and putting these articles together, even though this stuff exists in my head, I'll be really thinking about helping people who are confused that, got to look the devil in the face every day and not know it's the devil. And I put a lot of time and energy and resources into these videos. So anything that you can spare, any assistance that you can offer me, I will appreciate it, and it's going to a good cause because I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna keep researching. I'm gonna be here speaking the truth, existing and living in the truth, and I'm here mainly because of y'all support. The little support, you might think like, oh, he don't care about this. I value everything because everything it helps me move forward. So with all that being said, be sure to like the video. Like I said earlier, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one. Hopefully it's another deep dive. I put everything into this video, so I don't know where I'm about to go on the next video, but I'm sure it'll open itself up to. But if you like this video, make sure you like it, and if you do truly like it, make sure you share it to somebody who you feel might need to hear this message. Because that's how I've grown my channel over the years, not through going viral, not through YouTube recommendations, but through real people sharing it to other real people. With all that being said, I'm flying out and get to my day. My whole day I've been consumed in this video, preparing for it. I be so locked in. My kids, they be walking past me. I love my kids. They so cute and so well mannered and shit. I would be like, Daddy locked in right now. I love you. Come here, give me a kiss, give me a hug, but let me lock in. So let me go show them some love and some attention and get to where I need to get to. But with all that being said, peace to the tribe, peace to the collective.